Labour leader Keir Starmer has taken to X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, to encourage women to enter politics. Watch and listen.
Over 100 years ago, the first woman took her seat in Parliament. Since then, more than 5,000 MPs have been elected, but fewer than 600 of them are women. Ask Her to Stand aims to encourage women to get involved in all levels of politics, local and national. So if you know someone who would make a great representative in Parliament and in their local communities, ask her to stand.
Now, it's worth bearing in mind that while the Conservatives have gifted the country 2 female prime ministers, in fact, 3, actually, isn't it? The first, more than 40 years ago, Labour have given us none. Also, this is a man who couldn't answer this simple question.
A woman can have a penis.
Nick, I'm not. I don't think we can conduct this debate with.
No, you all struggle with it, the penis question, don't you?
Well, look, firstly, a woman is an adult female, so let's clear that one up. We don't think that self-identification is the right way forward.
Right, well, there we go. So, Nana, is Keir Starmer really the man to be banging the drum for women in politics?
Patrick, that bit when he goes, when he's trying to answer the question, that bit always gets me. I mean, seriously, he couldn't answer whether a woman has a penis or not. Then he said 99.9% of them don't, which means 1 in 1,000 do. And then it took him almost a year to confirm that actually, yeah, a woman is an adult female. I mean, can you trust this man? I can't trust him. And then eventually he said it's not all about biology, though. Well, it is about biology. He's got Eddie Izzard in his party who decides whenever he wants to be a woman or a man. So can he be involved in this Ask Her to Stand day? I mean, you had Rosie Duffield, who was scared to go to her own party conference because she agreed with the notion that only women have a cervix. This is a man who cannot be trusted. He flip-flops like anything. It's a nonsense. It's farcical. And I noticed the amount of times he started off saying woman, and then he started to use the terms female in this little brief. So it's just a little subtle change there in his language. But I suspect, really, he's doing this to appease, I don't know, the women, because he's marginalised us. And let's not forget that the Labour Party are talking about making self-ID easier. So this doesn't sound like somebody I can trust. And yeah, no female leader whatsoever.
No. Well, look, now onto something else that I must say I found utterly ridiculous. OK, so a scientific study by the Museum of London has found that black women were more likely to die during the medieval plague that ravaged London in the 14th century due to racism. It's a racist plague. Dr. Rebecca Redfern, Senior Curator of Archaeology at the museum, claims that the Black Death reveals the pre-modern structural racism's devastating effects. Nana, considering only 9 victims of the plague were included in this study, is it really worth the paper it's written on?
I mean, wow. They've told us something that who knew? If perhaps you were in a minority group in the early 1400s or 1348 or whenever it was in London, and you were poor, you may well have been a servant. You may have been a servant from somebody who was travelling to London, and you lived in London with this person, and you were impoverished and a lot poorer, that you were more likely to die of the Black Death. Well, who knew? My goodness. And there could have been an element of racism. What's the point of this? I presume they spent money on this. I think they exhumed 145 bodies or something and checked the bones and all this. How much money did they spend on this ridiculous piece of information that I could have told them that anyway? What is the point of this?
It does appear as though people are now going to more and more extreme lengths, including literally digging up the bodies of people who died, in the 14th century in order to try to prove that structural racism has always existed.
Well, every racism has always existed anyway. Whether it's black on black, whether it's white on white, whether it's racism has existed. We are one race, but unfortunately we believe that people are different races and we've come from It's nonsense. We know that, but it has existed since time began. And it is an absolute nonsense that they've gone in to find that if you are poorer at that time, it's more likely that people of colour and from ethnic minorities who were not the indigenous population would have been poorer. Therefore, ultimately, the fact that they were poorer was more likely the reason why they died, not necessarily because they were black. It's absurd that they will go to such lengths. Racism has existed since time began. So if the place was racist, which I imagine it was, then those who are lower in the pecking order are more likely to die of a disease.
Yeah, I just find it absolutely bonkers when you add it to the list of things that are racist now, which, by the way, includes stuff like the countryside. Then you think, well, hang on a minute, we might as well all just pack up and go home. But Prince Harry has emulated his grandmother, little sneaky little one to squeeze in here at the end, by becoming the second member of the monarchy to drop a hockey puck at a match in Canada, with the late Queen making a similar fumble back in 2002. Nana, is this endearing? Is he emulating the Queen? Do you think she should be proud of him for his puck drop moment?
Oh, God. He even slightly got it wrong as well, so it was a bit awkward. I feel sorry for him. He doesn't know whether he's coming or going. And then he's obviously compared to our great, wonderful late Queen, who was just faultless, in my view. There's no comparison. They put the two pictures side by side, and you just thought it was awkward. Apparently, he got a little bit of assistance on how to do it as well. They have no purpose. It's really sad. They've got money, they've got no purpose.
Look, Nana, thank you very much. I always love our chats, and I think the idea as well that Prince Harry couldn't just hold his hand out and let gravity do the rest without receiving some kind of instruction does really speak volumes there. It's Nana Akua there, GB News legend.